it's time we talk about Raichu. A Pokemon so forgotten, he wasn't even in my Funko Advent calendar. Poor, sweet little Raichu has a long history of being neglected by the Pokemon fanbase. But just because he's the overlooked big brother of the most popular rat in the history of the world, that doesn't mean he doesn't deserve a little bit of time in the spotlight. So, for my rare Raichu fans out there, this one's for you. Raichu originally had an evolved form named Gorachu, which would have had 2 horns and fangs. Ken Sugimori stated that, while there was nothing wrong with its appearance, it was nonetheless omitted from Pokemon Red and Green, as the staff found that the game balance was better without it, and the limited game space meant that some Pokemon originally designed to evolve twice were changed to evolve only once. Alolan Raichu may be based on the concept of surfing Pikachu and the sport of surfing itself, which originated in Hawaii, the place that the Alola region was inspired by. Its design and psychic typing may have been influenced by Puka, a surfing Pikachu that appeared in Pokemon the series which had psychic powers and blue eyes. According to Ken Sugimori, he asked Atsuko Nishida to design Alolan Raichu since she was the one who had worked on the original Raichu design. Nishida insisted that Raichu has always been cuter than people might think, and designed Alolan Raichu to emphasize Raichu's cuteness. In particular, she designed it with the motif of bread. The in-game lore of people believing that its evolution was induced by eating pancakes was added afterward to play up the concept. The fact that Alolan Raichu was designed after bread may have also inspired the sweet fragrance it can release from its cheeks, as well as the look of its paws which resemble whipped cream decorations, cream puffs, or Bowsy. The only languages where Raichu's name seems to have a significant variance are Mandarin Chinese and Cantonese Chinese. I'd tell you what they call it, but I'm not sure how to pronounce it, so I'll just put it up on the screen. Raichu's Fire Red and Sun Pokédex entries discuss Raichu's electricity being able to knock out an Indian elephant. In Pokemon Legends Arceus, this is changed to Copperajah, which is based on the Indian elephant. This is also the only Pokédex entry in Legends Arceus to mention a Pokemon not obtainable in Hisui. Several Pokédex entries claim Raichu can discharge up to 100,000 volts of electricity. However, its Stadium entry claims it can only discharge up to 10,000 volts. This is likely a translation error due to the way numbers are read in Japanese, where 100,000 reads literally as 10 10,000s. Raichu and Pikachu both share their category with Rattata, Raticate, Sandshrew, Sandslash, Pawmi, and Pawmo. They are all known as the Mouse Pokemon, though Rattata and Raticate were originally called the Rat Pokemon prior to Generation 3. Raichu averages only 2 feet and 7 inches for its regular variant, and only 2 feet 4 inches for its Alolan variant. By the way, for my Imperial System degenerates, that's 0.8 meters and 0.7 meters. You're welcome. Also, its regular form averages 66 pounds, or 30 kilograms, which is about the size of a greyhound. Its Alolan form averages just 46 pounds, or 21 kilograms, which is the size of a Grand Basset Griffin Vendine. If you don't know what that is, neither did I until now. Its Pokédex entry in Pokemon Yellow states that the electricity built up in its body makes it glow in the dark. I'd totally love a Raichu Nightlight. Oh, but it also says that it gets feisty or aggressive when the electricity builds up, so maybe not. In Pokemon Silver, its entry states that when the electric pouches in its cheeks become fully charged, its ears stand straight up. And according to Pokemon Crystal, when those pouches run out, it will stick its tail into the air to gather electricity from the atmosphere. However, the entry from Pokemon Sapphire says that it'll actually plant its tail into the ground to search for electricity. And then, to contradict that, its entry in Pokemon Ruby says that it plants its tail into the ground to discharge electricity when its electrical sacs become excessively charged, and that scorched patches of ground can be found near its nest. Okay, I just have to read this one to you verbatim because it's equally funny and sad. The entry in Pokemon Ultra Moon just says, "Because so many trainers like the way Pikachu looks, you don't see this Pokemon very often." Our poor little neglected boy. The entry in Pokemon Shield is the first and only entry so far to say that Alolan Raichu attacks with star-shaped thunderbolts. In the anime episode Electric Shock Showdown, Lieutenant Surge had a Raichu that defeated Ash's Pikachu with its sheer power during Ash's gym battle. After unsuccessfully discussing the prospect of evolution with Pikachu to match Raichu's power, Ash used a strategy relying on Pikachu's speed to defeat Raichu during a rematch the next day. This episode introduced the idea that Ash's Pikachu would choose never to evolve. Ash keeps the Thunderstone he receives in this episode until Pika and Goliath, 523 episodes later, where it's stolen by Team Rocket. This episode marks the first time that Team Rocket refers to Ash by name, when they show their support for the brave Pikachu and Ash. This is also the first time they express support for a main character. Then, James breaks the fourth wall at the end of the episode by saying, "Drat, we wasted this episode cheering the good guys." Excuse my terrible James impression. This also marks the first time Team Rocket breaks the fourth wall. An error in this episode happens when Lieutenant Surge sends out his Raichu for the first time and the screen freezes for a few seconds. In this episode, it is mentioned that Pikachu is faster than Raichu. However, Raichu's base speed is higher than Pikachu's, though this may be due to the fact that Pikachu used multiple agility attacks within the battle. In the English dub, when Pikachu shocks Ash at the Pokemon Center, Ash's Japanese voice can be heard. Ash's Pokédex in this episode mentions that Raichu can knock a Dragonite unconscious, though in the Japanese version it mentions an Indian elephant instead. Raichu uses 6 different moves in this episode, 4 of which are normal type. Pop quiz! What is the only steel type move that Raichu can learn? Type your guess in the comments down below and I'll reveal the answer at the end of the video. No other Pokemon has the same type combination as Alolan Raichu. In Pokemon Red and Blue, there is a scientist at the Pokemon Lab in Cinnabar Island who will trade a Raichu for an Electrode. If the player talks to him after the trade, he will mention that the Raichu evolved, which is not possible. This mistake was due to the original translation of the script of the Japanese Blue, in which this person traded a Graveler for a Kadabra, rather than that of Pokemon Red and Green. This error was corrected in Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green as the script was retranslated. Although Pikachu is the first partner Pokemon of Pokemon Yellow, it is not possible to directly evolve it into Raichu in the game, and must be traded in from Red and Blue. This inability to evolve Pikachu is a reference to Ash's Pikachu in the Pokemon the series. Alolan Raichu is the only regional form Pokemon to have a Z move exclusive to it. Raichu is the most common Pokemon found amongst in-game rivals, being used by 5 of them. Alolan Raichu is the only Alolan form available in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet that can only be obtained by transferring from other games outside of Pokeportal news events. In the Pokemon Stadium series, Colosseum, XD, and Battle Revolution, Raichu rides on its tail when using the move Surf. Raichu that are caught and then traded to a Generation 2 game from Pokemon Red, Blue, or Yellow have a 100% chance of holding a gold leaf. The only way to get an Alolan Raichu with the move Volt Tackle in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is by transferring one that knew the move previously into Pokemon Home, and then using the move reminder functionality within the service to get the move back. An Alolan Raichu knowing the move is blocked from online trades and cannot be used in the Battle Stadium. Raichu currently has 13 different costumed forms in Pokemon Go. There's a glitch in Pokemon Red and Blue that allows you to evolve your Pikachu into Raichu without using a Thunderstone, but you will need a Growlithe. In order to pull this off, you'll have to beat a trainer's first Pokemon using your Pikachu and make sure it levels up after beating it. Then, swap to the Pokemon whose index number corresponds to the index number of the required evolution stone, which is Growlithe for Thunderstone evolutions. This glitch occurs because the game uses the same memory address to detect whether an item is used or whether a Pokemon is in battle, tricking the game into thinking that the Thunderstone was involved with the leveling up of your Pikachu. Lieutenant Surge's Raichu has an illegal move combination in Pokemon Stadium 2, as Surf can only be obtained as a special move as a Pikachu from Pokemon Stadium, while Reversal can only be obtained by breeding. Lieutenant Surge's Raichu knowing Mega Punch and Mega Kick in Pokemon Yellow is a direct reference to the moveset it uses in the anime episode Electric Shock Showdown. Raichu has been featured on 56 different cards since it debuted in the base set of the Pokemon trading card game. The English version of Raichu's black and white promotional card, card number BW78, was planned to be released in the Plasma Freeze 3-pack blisters with a corresponding Pikachu promo, but due to the cancellation of an English Landorus box, black and white promos Landorus and Dredagon were issued in the blister packs instead of Pikachu and Raichu. Because of this abrupt change in products, there was not enough time for this promotional card to be repurposed into a different promotional product, and it remains unissued. The only card in the TCG in which Raichu is not Lightning type is its Delta Species card from EX Holon Phantoms, in which it is Metal type. Raichu was one of the figures released in the first and only expansion of the Pokemon trading figure game. The existence of the Base Set Prerelease Raichu misprint has been debated for over 2 decades, but was finally confirmed by the grading card company CGC in 2023, using extensive research and card scanning technology to prove the authenticity of 2 submissions of the card. There are thought to only be 11 of these cards in existence, and they were created when several Raichu cards, which were positioned next to Clefable from the Jungle set on the uncut card sheets, were accidentally stamped with the pre-release stamp intended for the Clefable cards. On the Raichu card from the Neo Revelation set, Lightning Strike is listed as one of its moves. Lightning Strike's Japanese name is Bolt Strike, which was a move introduced in the Generation 5 Pokemon games that Raichu cannot actually learn. Dark Raichu was included as a secret card in the Team Rocket expansion, having been made especially for the English set by Wizards of the Coast. It was later printed as a super rare in the Japanese Crossing the Ruins expansion. On Raichu Level X from the Stormfront set, the description of the Voltage Shoot attack is missing the word damage. It should read, "This attack does 80 damage to that Pokemon," but instead only reads, "This attack does 80 to that Pokemon." Some prints of the Raichu Break card from the Breakthrough expansion were printed with the back upside down. And now it's time for the answer to our pop quiz. The only Steel-type move that Raichu can learn is Iron Tail. Did you get it right? If you did, congratulations! You helped Pikachu earn his bottle of ketchup. If not, well... Thank you so much for watching! Let me know what Pokemon you want to see next, and if you enjoy my content, it would help me out a lot if you liked this video or subscribe to my channel so I can keep making videos that make you happy. Stay awesome, stay weird. I'll catch you in the next one.